I'm Aaron Sagers, and this is Talking Strange.
Nine seasons, 9 of Paranormal Caught on Camera on Travel Channel, HBO Max, and Discovery Plus. So let's talk with my fellow cast members and analysts on the craziest stuff that we've seen and maybe even tease out some of the stuff coming up this season. Hey there, spooky nerds. Welcome to Talking Strange, a paranormal pop culture show. As always, I'm Aaron Sagers. And it's really hard to believe that we are 9 seasons into Paranormal Caught on Camera, which airs Sundays at 9 p.m. ET on Travel Channel and then HBO Max and Discovery Plus. And this group of folks that I'm bringing in has been trucking along for the long haul, talking about high strangeness week to week. I'm honored to be amongst them as a fellow cast member and analyst. So let me go ahead and bring them in. And for all of you guys that are joining us for the live audience, well, you have the benefit via Patreon to be able to register questions. So that's what you're missing out if you're not part of that crew. Okay, he has the shortest bio that he provided to me, so I will read that first. Dan Sturges loves tacos and thinks AC/DC is the best music to play while riding a motorcycle. Dan Sturges.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah, Dan.
Hey, guys.
Next up, he's been a friend of mine for a long time, and he is a featured analyst for Travel Channel's our Travels Paranormal Caught on Camera. He's been on History Channel's The Curse of Oak Island, Drilling Down, as well as The Unexplained with William Shatner. He's a tech specialist for Sci-Fi's Haunted Collector team, and when not delighted fans with his on-screen presence, this 23-year investigative veteran can be found sharing his wit and wisdom at top-notch events and elite universities throughout the United States and internationally. Recently, he has been touring with his interactive History of the Paranormal mobile exhibit across the country with the goal of hitting all 50 states. And to date, he's been to 13 with more to come in 2026. He is Brian Cano.
Hello.
Hey guys, good to see everybody.
And coming in just in time, I'll give him a second to fire up. I want to bring in another person I've known for a very long time because, geez, we've been doing this for a long time. Susan Slaughter was born and raised in Miami. She's part Nicaraguan, fluent in Spanish. Not only is she a well-known paranormal expert, she openly identifies as a witch with more than 100 paranormal investigations in more than 40 countries. Her insights on the supernatural and metaphysical are sought after for lectures on camera, as a consultant, and at events worldwide. And aside from her paranormal endeavors, she has parallel aspirations for acting, or did growing up. Is that still the case? Still have aspirations for acting, Susan?
Yes. I mean, I was a theater kid, so,
Theater kid.
Yeah, and I still do some features here and there. Maybe coming soon.
Coming soon. And excels in musical theater and costume design and stage direction. And she moved to LA in 2010, where she took on character roles in the horror genre. She's well known for a duality in both acting and the paranormal, launching her amongst the horror elite. Susan Slaughter. Thanks for joining us, Susan. And we have Dr. Lynne S. McNeill. I think roundly can say one of the audience favorites on Paranormal Caught on Camera, associate professor of folklore in the history department at Utah State University. Her research interests include legends, beliefs, digital culture. She's the author of popular textbook Folklore Rules and the co-editor of Slender Man is Coming, Creepypasta and Contemporary Legends on the Internet, and Legend Tripping, a contemporary legend casebook, and co-editor of This Is the Plate, a book on traditional foodways in Utah. In addition to books, her work has been published in several national and international flagship journals, including the Journal of American Folklore, Folklore Fellows Communications, Western Folklore, Contemporary Legend, and numerous edited collections. And Lynne is an active member of the American Folklore Society and serves on the AFS Media and Public Outreach Committee. Hey, Lynne. Always happy to see you. And just in time for this, I thought we was going to run late, but here he is. Mark Sceurman has been in the industry, publishing industry for 40 years. He was the art director of the Aquarian Weekly and East Coast Rocker, then moved on to creating Weird New Jersey Magazine. He's the author, producer, an all-around nice guy, according to him. Weird New Jersey has produced around 36 Weird State books and other projects in between filming various TV shows, including the History Channel program Weird US. Hey, Mark, thanks for joining us, man.
Well, you're too kind, sir, to invite me into this program.
This ragtag bunch of ruffians, ne'er-do-wells, all that good stuff. So, okay, guys, all those great bios, are all very accomplished and excited to be here with you and amongst my fellow spooky nerds. So here we are. I know I said, okay, so this was a little bit of a cheat because for us, it's being listed out there in the world as it airs as season 9 of Paranormal Caught on Camera. Brian, you're shaking your head. Is that not true?
I'm a purist. We filmed the batch for season 7 all at the beginning of last year, and then they showed the first half, and the summer came, and we're like, oh, I wonder when they're gonna air the second half. And then we see it as season 8. I'm like, no, wait. We have hefty seasons. I like having these long seasons. There's a certain bit of I don't know, I guess not bragging rights, but I remember growing up with shows that had 25 episodes a season. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
And we have shot these 26 episode seasons in the past, it seems like.
Oh yeah.
And actually, we also have shot seasons where it takes an entire year for anything to air, whereas we started filming like April or whatever for this season. So it's already airing, so it's on right away. So let me get to the nuts and bolts here, and I'll throw it to Susan first. What is the clip that people mention to you the most, would you say?
Nobody talks to me.
You're very friendly. People want to talk to you.
Kidding. To be honest, I think a lot of the times people, the thing I get asked the most is like, do you believe every clip that you see? And how is it that you can talk about everything? And why is it that Susan Slaughter seems to have experienced everything from aliens, cryptids, and ghosts? Those are the questions I get,
And you just went through like at least 4 of my questions I have on this list. So pick one, okay? Talk about the clip first, and we'll get to the rest.
I think a lot of the time people ask. Well, I just recently was asked about like the. I don't know what aired yet. I haven't even seen the first. I can't talk.
The first 3 episodes of this season have aired.
I know, but
yeah, I can't remember.
Asking me about a recent clip because sometimes I'll like I shoot in a studio with other artists, and sometimes they'll listen into my what I'm talking about because they're like outside in the green room or something. And so I was talking about like symbolisms of death. So like I guess like butterflies or cardinals or things like that.
The butterfly one has not aired yet, but
Just filmed that today.
Trying to talk. Oh yeah, I know exactly. So that was my recent one.
I just filmed the butterfly one today as well. It's the still gray background. So anyone else want to weigh in on a clip that they get asked about the most? I'll say one of the ones that I think it was season 2 was the Aswang. That still comes up a lot.
What one?
The Aswang. The thing.
Oh, right.
Aswang.
CCTV footage. It looks like it's kind of creeping along and then merges, takes shape, and then seems to phase through the security gates, and the camera guys are freaking out, or the security guys are freaking out as they watch it. That's one of the ones people asked me about. It's kind of shifting a little bit more. I'm getting more like it's typically the weird ones, Russia, strange creature in a farmhouse or whatever. That's the ones that I get the most. Who else wants to take that?
I was doing something in Connecticut at an event, and a woman came running up to me, and she remembered it was one of the dog episodes early on, and I talked about my dog who I had to put down, and she said, "Oh, I love Gus and the picture of Gus." So a lot of the pet stories people talk to me about.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a tease. Watch this space because the pet stories people come up to me about as well, and I think
Yeah,
it's happening again this season.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
Lynn, do you have any that people seem to come up to you a lot and talk about or want to ask questions about?
You know, mostly my students who I will just say across the board are like really disappointed when they find out that my class isn't exactly like this show, which is, like the things I say on the show are things that rarely come up, unfortunately, in my classes, unless we get off on tangents and then they're really good at getting me off on tangents and then I'll just ramble on about stuff. But it seems, and this could be Utah, because Utah's big on UFOs,
Yeah.
but the alien UAP UFO videos, those are the ones that on the whole, I would say, at least as an audience of, undergraduate and graduate university students, those are the ones that they're most like, do you really think that's a thing? What do you think about this? What are we gonna find out about this? Is a big reveal coming? Like, and I think that's just sort of the zeitgeist right now. Like there's a lot of it feels like we're on the brink of some sort of potential revelation having to do with UFOs, UAPs, all of that. So I think that's where that's coming from.
As a follow-up, Lynn, I know you've done other shows, and as I think we all have, but for you, through Paranormal Caught on Camera, have you noticed there's been an uptick in your class enrollment since doing this show? Has this been a good thing for enrollment?
It's a good thing for the folklore program, period. I mean, academia is under fire right now, so we're just hoping to maintain the hold we have at the university. And for as much as you might think that a university administration might want to be dismissive of like a fun, exciting, supernatural paranormal show, knock on wood, they mostly like it. Um, so I don't know. I mean, I say I know this is a humble brag, but our folklore courses are always fully enrolled with full wait lists. And honestly, it's because people are like, easy A to fulfill my gen ed. So, but then they arrive in class and then they find out why they want to study this stuff. So,
You give extra credit to your students if they watch the show, Lynn?
no, I should.
No?
That's a good way to boost,
Right.
popularity of the show. It's like, hey, A's for everyone if you guys do it.
It seems like it could be a good school project about do your own episode of Peacock and see how it goes.
Yeah.
You
Gonna
could
take notes on these suggestions.
Yeah, yeah. The Mark, how about you? Any of the
Well,
clips people love bringing up to you? Especially because I mean, obviously, weird New Jersey guy. You're like old school, I think. We may have been doing this uh, as a something we love, but man, you've been doing it professionally for a long time, talking about this stuff.
yeah,
But yeah,
at least
through
at least 100 years.
at least 100 years.
I find it hard. I think we must have started like maybe 100 over 120 episodes or so. And my biggest problem now is trying to see these orbs and everything in the sky, and I'm just it's really hard to explain what they are after 120 episodes. They all kind of look the same to me, but you got to put a new take on it every time you spin it, right?
As a follow-up to that, Mark, have you found yourself if you've seen any finished episodes, have you ever found yourself saying the exact same thing on more than one episode? Not because you're intending to go back to the well, but just the way the brain works.
Yeah, and even like when you get interviewed, they say I know we've said this a dozen times before, but I want to hear it again. So that's it.
Yeah. Sometimes I recall like the early days of the TV show Ghost Hunters, when you would have back in those days, like Grant Wilson would be like, an EVP stands for electronic voice phenomena. And sometimes when our producers are asking me this, I'm like, this is my version of that personal, I guess. I won't say hell, but personal cross to bear, I guess. Brian, how about you? Clip.
People don't ask me about specific videos so much as they wonder why they come at me and they say, "How come you guys don't debunk?" And I said, "Because the show would be 10 minutes." And that's not the point of the show. We're not putting forward videos because this is what we've captured and you must believe what's out there. It's about starting the conversation. So if you think, hey, that video is crap, good. Let's talk about that. Let's extrapolate on that. And I think it's gotten the conversation started across the board, across all the different topics underneath the paranormal umbrella. I know I've learned a lot since coming on. I used to be, just the ghost and spirit guy, but now I know a lot about ufology, a little bit more about cryptozoology, and how to be a punching bag on Twitter to people who are mad on Monday morning.
Oh yeah, it's great. I mean, people love to kind of hate the show, but they cannot stop watching it. They always just want to they want to debunk everything, but they don't really have any answers either.
We'll take their ratings though. Keep watching.
Yeah, right.
Hate watch, love watch. Everybody come on board.
I don't get a whole lot of interactions with people that are like saying they hate it so much as like people are
Yes,
like,
I've
yeah, I love the
noticed.
show, but there's this one thing, like, come on, guys, come on.
Yeah.
And
Well, even I think I say that too, but
yeah,
Imagine we all do.
yeah, well,
Yeah, like those 3 segments you didn't see me on. That's because I had bad things to say.
well, okay. Well, there you go. That's something I know people ask about a lot. I think even in these questions and our comments, how do you choose about which things to comment on or not? I'll go first and I'll say like I generally comment on all of them. It's just not all of the comments are great or in support of the thing. So as Brian said, either I didn't have the flashiest statement, or I was like, that's a reflection in the window, or that's the movement of the lights, and that's not actually a shadow movement. So I try to comment on everything, and then couch it with a lot of allegedlys. So I guess with that said, what's talk about how you pick and choose or things that you opt out of in a respond in a diplomatic way so we can all keep our jobs. But Susan, do you have anything to say on that one?
I think I'm a master of that actually, because first of all, I being from the Ghost Hunters franchise myself, having to repeat things on the OTFs is what we would call them. Like very easy for me to do that for Paranormal Caught on camera. I'm just like, well, been doing this forever. So, but also it's like, sometimes it's not about commenting on what, like the phenomena that's captured, we have to keep in mind that a lot of the stuff that we get are not from professional investigators. These are from real life people that just so happen to capture these things. And my job is not to comment on whether or not it's legit or whatever, but it's to comment on what they believe they're experiencing, right? So if they're experiencing light phenomena, I'll just talk about the light phenomena and not the fact that it's a lens flare, so just I'll go on a whole thing about orbs and what they could possibly be, but I'm not going to sit there and say that's a lens flare or that's what happens when moisture like gets caught on spider web. So it's just kind of, I take it as an opportunity to talk about the phenomena and what's happening, what they think is happening.
Sure. And look, the name of the show is Paranormal Caught on Camera, not maybe paranormal, maybe caught on camera.
It's a lot easier to debunk something than to like really, say what you might think it is.
Well, yeah, and I'll save that actually for a follow-up question a little bit down the road. But any other statements on when you're, how you approach something that you try to keep an open mind, even if maybe your initial reaction is to be dismissive, which is hard to do, especially when you're watching a lot of clips.
I usually just, I think I've only passed on like 2 clips. Like we don't have to do this one. But I just say, you know what, I wasn't there, but this seems to be or could be an example of what they might be experiencing, without saying no, there's a string or whatever. But yeah, so I just kind of give it the this could be an example of poltergeist activity and get into what that might be.
Yeah. And Dan, I'll say I don't think it's paranormal phenomena, but you are somewhat like getting fuzzy in the background, as if you're
I don't know what
by a mist of.
that's doing that.
Or keeping his identity anonymous.
No, well,
No
my camera's doing you guys a favor anyway, so
You probably have the blur background setting on.
I don't even know. I hate this.
He's just Homer Simpsoning back into the background. Just
yeah. Brian, did you have anything to add to that?
kind of like Susan said, if I don't want to comment specifically, and I tell people this is the hack. If you hear me talking about specifics on the clip, okay, I'm good with it. If I start talking generically or about the topic, yes, that's code for Brian doesn't believe this. But I found a lot of times when filming, and I did it a few times today, I get mad, I say something, and I apologize to the producer. And I'm like, oh, well, you know what? Here's something. And in my frustration over, what I feel like maybe this isn't the greatest clip, I find another angle. And I'm like, oh, well, what about this? And that's how I end up saying something really vacuous or something like, wow, well, maybe it's a portal to a parallel dimension. And, they're like, oh, we haven't thought about that. No one said that yet. I'm like, yeah, because I literally just pulled it out of my ass.
It is funny how sometimes you come in with like these ideas of what you want to say or reference or whatever, and then you're able to spin gold out of those kind of improvisational moments. What's your cat's name, Brian?
Neptune.
Neptune. It's a great
Oh,
looking cat.
I have a tuxedo kitty too.
Get
Me
those cats
too.
out.
Everybody get their animals.
Not in this room.
Yeah. I
Big E.
Look, I have
Yeah.
here. This is tuxedo.
like where we should do a spin-off, Paranormal Pets, caught on camera.
Forced on camera.
Yeah. Yeah, forced on
Aw,
camera.
say hi to the other kitty.
Neptune.
I have a bird, but if I took him out, he would start cursing. nonstop.
Oh, we know about your cursing bird.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I taught him all the lines from The Sopranos, so all he does is curse.
Lynn, from your perspective, doing this show, how has it impacted how you view sort of the academic side of things or just folklore in general? Because this is sort of maybe not folklore, this is folklore-ish, right? Is something you taught me, but like
Yeah, folklore-esque is our
folklore-esque. Yeah.
term. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but it's like living and breathing. It's happening. It's
Oh, yeah.
reflecting like modern, like something happened very recently. So how has it
Yeah.
impacted your approach to the academic side of things?
Yeah, I will say my favorite clips are the truly incidental ones where it's not a paranormal investigator. This isn't someone who set out to find something. They're not in a known haunted place, or maybe they are, but they're not there to find something. It just sort of happens. And the ones with like the really locally contextualized stories where it's like they just lost someone close to them or they lost a pet or whatever, and then boom, this thing happens. And folklorists as academics are sort of professional agnostics. Like it sort of stands in contrast to older disciplines like anthropology, and that's not to disparage anthropologists in any way. The discipline is certainly very similar to folklore studies now, but rather than sort of coming from this outside perspective and like declaiming what's actual reality, folklore as a discipline is a real ground up sort of approach to these things that says like, you tell me what this means to you, and I'm here to take that seriously. I mean, it's what Susan was saying. It's like even academically, it's like I want to meet people where they are, and it doesn't behoove me to be like, I think it's actually not real. Assuming someone's not faking things, I tend to lean into let's imagine this person believes this is 100% legit and the background that they have surmised is true and meaningful to them. And I want to sort of respond on that front. And it makes me understand. It's almost like being a field worker, like going out and interviewing people. My job isn't to say, oh, actually, you're wrong. My job is to say, tell me why this is meaningful to you. Wow, that's cool. Like that's it. And I get more opportunities to do that from this show than I do from my academic work as a folklorist by far. And I love that.
Interesting. Just a show of hands, who else kind of prefers the clips where it is something seemingly random from someone that it doesn't have any connection to the paranormal world whatsoever?
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
the best. I love those.
Well, that's why it's caught on camera, not, hey, we produced this and we went to this and we yelled until it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. If the clip has sound effects, it's a little sketchy for me.
I know.
Yeah, I agree. I hate sometimes we get these from these investigators, right? They'll send us stuff and it's been so obviously edited, and there's just like this woo.
Yeah, I mean, they're
music
great
in-
videos. They're great videos, and they do a lot of work, and there's a lot of polish to them. But
Yeah.
sometimes you hear things, and I'm like, is that like soundtrack, or is that actually going on? Or yeah. So if they're really slick, that's a little kind of a red flag for me.
Yeah, I agree. That's one of my big peeves. And usually those are the ones that we get first on the documents. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's
The
Always
ones
hour
that are
long.
like an hour long.
Oh
I know,
man.
the hour long.
I go backwards through all my documents. I'm like, give me the really cool, really weird, really short one first. And then
That's exactly
I'll
what I
work
said
my
to
way
them
up.
today.
Yep.
Start at the bottom.
Yep.
Yeah, for everyone that's kind of listening and watching, sometimes with these clip packets that we get, we sometimes have good information. Sometimes it's a one paragraph or two paragraph eyewitness account, but we don't always have a lot of historical information sometimes. But then even within that, there's a lot of research involved to say, is this actually legit? Historical research or just something pulled from a blog that someone may
Right.
have made up and has a somewhat dubious origin. And that gets frustrating for me from the research perspective. But from the paranormal investigators here in this group, I have a question about how you feel this show has contributed to both paranormal investigations and then I guess paranormal entertainment. But any investigator that wants to take this.
Um,
I
I
think
feel like, we get to comment on a lot of videos. We get to put a lot of information out there. And I know we're all clever in our own way, sneaking the information inside the entertainment. And Aaron, you and I are head to head on the pop culture references. I think the scoreboard's pretty even.
It's been a
But
while though, man. I feel like I haven't snuck one in a while. They've been a little more cautious.
I think I did one or two today. But I don't think and this is something that I don't know, maybe it irks me a little bit. They see, at least with me personally, coming from a haunted collector to here, I'm a talking head now. I think people assume, oh, Brian doesn't investigate anymore. So we don't have to pay attention to him. And with the rise of the YouTubers and the 30-minute challenges and all those things, I feel like, hey, we're still valid. We're still relevant. We have information to give. And a lot of my comments, I say, well, out in the field or investigators do this to cement that, yes, you can listen to some of the advice we're giving and apply it to your own investigations. I don't know if people are necessarily taking that advice, but I feel we all still give it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be a butthole in saying this, but like a lot of the
Do it.
people on YouTube are not investigators. They're urban explorers, they're content creators. They're not putting up static cameras. They're not reviewing audio and video and in real time, or going home, and I would setting up like a camera in every room, like I would go in a location and we have like 10 rigs up and we'd be shooting those cameras for like 6 hours straight. And that's like 60 hours of review. And I know none of these dudes are doing that, so it's like, that's another thing that, I think there's a huge misinterpretation and it's lost cause now, like what it is to be a true paranormal investigator and researcher, and the real detailed work you have to do with your gear to capture stuff, like I'm seeing a lot of handheld things too, which I'm like, put that audio recorder down, please. Like, I'm tired. Like your shushes and yeses and whispers is your thumb on the mic, like, or like your jacket brushing up against it. And so I get hypercritical, like when I'm watching these things and I'm just like rolling my eyes the whole time. And I mean, there are I would like to spin, a question to all of you guys about like, are there, because sometimes we feature some of these investigators regularly, like we've seen a couple of teams throughout the seasons and we would like keep featuring them. And I was just curious to know if you had a favorite of those teams
Yep.
or someone that you
You
don't.
know those English guys?
That's me too.
Me
With
too.
the really tall, bald guy?
Yeah.
I like
Love
those guys.
I love those guys.
I forget their team name, but they pop
Yeah.
up a couple times. They seem like
Yeah.
they have some an ethos about the way they investigate, but they also
Yeah.
They're British.
Yeah, right.
And they're having a blast too. They're having a
Hey.
good time, and yeah, I think they're awesome.
I would have a drink with those guys.
I've
So,
emailed them. I've never
Right.
heard back, but I've emailed them. Yeah.
I mean, like
I reached
some-
out to
some-
them.
Wait,
We
hold
were
on.
gonna
Susan,
discuss it.
finish that thought, and then Mark.
I was just saying I did also email that team as well.
Yeah.
England, I was trying to I was like, hey, I'm going to be here. Let's do an investigation together. We talked about doing like the ram's head, the ostrichen and things like that. And so we're still talking because like I have actually reached out to teams that I've met through these clips. Another one was like the Paranormal Files, with Colin. And I also did investigations with him. And then it's kind of like some of these teams I actually really love and some I'm like, and so I have one of the pros of being on this series is like you could kind of reach out to these people and they know who you are and you're just like, hey, I like what you're doing. Let's do something together. And so I have actually collabed with some of the people I've met through the documents from Paranormal Caught on Camera.
Yeah, I think you're getting the better benefit of that because they're like, oh, so we want to work with Susan. I reach out to these guys and they're like, oh shit, and then they ghost me because I guess they're gonna think that I'm gonna be too critical. Now, I'm sorry to cut the line, Mark, but following this, I don't necessarily have a favorite, but I want to ask you guys. This season, I think very early on, there was a clip that I was very irate about. I never complain about clips beyond like enough to email Michelle and say we cannot show this, and it's from a repeat offender on the show. I'm like, this effing guy, we can't show this, and it was of course the demon possess me, do this, and did anyone else have a problem with it, or like I for the first time I wrote Michelle and I said this one clip I have to put my foot down. What do you remember?
I'll say, I don't know if it's the same clip, but there are sometimes, so the demon stuff pops up very frequently, and more frequently than I would prefer. But there was a clip that mentioned some violence that I was like, I think it's we have to be very careful here about throwing around accusations of violence, a specific
Right.
types of
I know the
violence
one you're
that
talking about.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I feel like I can't comment on this, especially when especially when there's no historical
Right.
verification here, and I can't wade into those waters because it's one thing for me to say this was a asylum in Philadelphia where some bad things definitely happened. And while I don't want to be gratuitous, I'll say this is historical fact. And then a lot of people have experienced this, and this is the paranormal reputation. And I can connect those dots and try to do it in a cautious way. But when people are just throwing things out there, it makes me very reluctant to say much about it at all.
Well, I think it was less the reputation, more of this guy who's been featured on our show before. A lot of, and then again, a lot of the audience, monkey see, monkey do. And I don't want to see them imitating this guy with his 5 million subscribers. They're going to do it anyway, but at least they'd have to go to his channel to do that. And for the first time, I felt I had to push back. And I was like, Michelle, I'm probably alone on this, but I was curious if you guys.
I think I know which one, and I raised some.
I do too. Yeah,
Mark did too.
Yeah.
Sceurman,
someone with initials.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. It's just I would love to see a edited commentary of us just talking mad shit.
Yeah, right.
Like,
the outtakes.
The outtakes. Where's our blooper reel? I
Yeah.
know it has to exist.
Oh, it does.
Oh, fuck, I said that wrong.
Yeah,
it does.
I sometimes, I don't know. Well, I guess around the the chat, let me ask, like, what this is a very intimate setting when you're recording with people, because we used to do it in a studio. Susan, you still do it in a studio. For most of us, it's remote now. But then it's a very intimate, or even more intimate in some ways than when we were in a studio with someone, with a producer, because now I'm having an allergy attack. I'm getting teary eyed from allergies, or there's traffic noises, or I'm like, I got to go blow my nose, or my dog's licking her ass. Like, so now it's not just one-on-one intimacy. It's like you're in my home. Uh,
Yeah.
and it's a weird setup in some ways like that. So I find that kind of bizarre. Do you guys have any of those moments where you're just like, this
I
is a
had
little much?
Yeah.
I had my neighbor, we were doing it, and it was probably in the summer, and I was in like my boxer shorts and my shirt and my jacket, and my setup's in the kitchen. And we're doing a thing, and there's a knock at my door, and I was like, oh, someone's knocking on my door. Nobody ever knocks on my door. And so I said, oh, they'll go away, they'll go away. And it kept knocking, kept knocking, kept knocking. So I said, hold on a second. And I went over, it was my neighbor from downstairs. He had some question he needed answered. But he's looking at me, I have makeup on, I have a jacket and a button-down shirt, and I'm in my underwear. And my apartment's dark except for like a light in the kitchen. He goes, are you shooting a porn? I was like, no, no, no.
Oh my God.
And I said,
Someone
I'm
asked
shooting a
you
show
if you were
called
filming a
Paranormal
porn.
Caught on camera.
Say yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank
yeah,
you.
I know. Where were
Well,
you?
I shoot in my basement, and last season, these two ducks decided to make a nest over my next to my basement window. So every time I talk, I hear quack 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 quack, and I have to like stop constantly.
Does somebody in the comments were asking about like routines when you're reviewing the footage, and also I forget exactly how it was phrased. I'm scrolling back, but if you have any kind of like habits or traditions for watching the videos, like with a special notebook or pen for notes, or a particular drink you have on hand. I don't know. A lot of times I should probably start drinking when I'm reviewing the clips. But
Yeah.
it might, yeah. But do you
I
guys,
totally
yeah,
have a special notebook, and I was just looking for it. Of course, I can't find it right now with my current one, but I have many, many notebooks, and the only thing that I do consistently is that each episode, this is what it looks like,
yeah.
is in a different colored pen. So as I move through different episodes, that spilled water on it. That's classy. It changes color, and it's interspersed with like the occasional other show, my department meetings, my conferences that I'm attending, and the various things that I have to do, or if like I'm talking about fairy tales on a podcast. I'm left-handed, so I tend to flip things upside down. You probably can't see this, but half the writing is always upside down because I'll flip the notebook around. And I love it. This is season 7, apparently, is what I'm documenting in this one. I don't know where my current one is. It's lost in the total hole that is my office. But
Uh,
anyway, so yes, whoever asked that, 100% dedicated notebook, not dedicated pen, but alternating colors.
Brian, it looks like you have some ammunition there. What do you got?
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't have a cool notebook. I used to just scribble on Post-its, but then I figured let me get organized. I'll open up like a pages document and story 1, story 2, and just write out my thoughts, because before the producers start asking questions, I said, look, let me just get this off the
Yeah.
top of my head before I just kind of have all my comments written
Yeah.
down so that they're taped on the ring light so that I could remember. And I remember I used to have to when we filmed in the city, I'd be driving into Manhattan thinking, "Don't forget to say this. Don't forget to say that. Oh man, oh God, damn you, driver!" with the road rage. And then I would get to the studio, say what I had to say, and drive home. I'm like, "Oh man, I forgot to say this." So
Yeah, that's what I prefer. I prefer to tell them these are my thoughts. I'd rather read the whole thing over. Then they ask the questions again, so I can kind of do them the second time and be a
Nice.
little more relaxed with what I'm
That,
about to say.
that's how I do it as well. This is one of my notepads for this. I also do, depending on if I'm traveling and prepping, I'll do it on the computer. But when we're doing the recording sessions, I'm like, let me just say, okay, this shadow figure, this is what I think. This EVP, this is what I think.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, the baseline questions I'm always thinking is like, uh explain the footage, explain the phenomena. How would I react? What's my advice? Or what would I do? Yeah, what would I do in
Yep.
that situation? How would I react? And then, this reminds me of this time in history or this piece of, whatever, myth or legend or whatever. And then I try to work in some quippy statement, which they rarely use. So,
I watch all the clips. I try not to read any of the notes. I just watch the clips first before I even look at any of the timestamps or anything, because I don't want to get influenced by what the producers think it might be. So but then you'll be watching a clip and they'll tell you what the EVP, what they think the EVP says right before it plays, and that's all you hear.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I just like watching them first, and I got a notebook too, Lynn, and I do use different colored pens the same as you, though.
The way to
For
do
the
it.
episodes for me.
Yep.
But
Show you my notebook because it's a super throwback and I have little keepsakes in it. So
Oh.
this is from Ghost Hunters Academy. I had taken a ton of these, and this is like what started my career. So like I have all of the first investigations I did for the Academy on here, but then it starts to morph into I highlight different things and different colors, very much like Lynn does, for every episode. But I have keepsakes in here that I have to show you because
Jason.
right. So here we have Jason, right? From a Haunted Collector, right? Signed. This was from like Las Vegas Paracon. You remember that, Ryan, right? Because look, I've got you too.
I was at that event, but you don't have my headshot from that event.
I don't, but also look who I have. I've got
wow.
Johnson.
Hey, Ben.
So these guys stay in my notebook right here, and I just keep them tucked away. And then I write my little notes for the show on here. I also have one of Rex Williams. I don't know if you guys remember Rex.
Oh, yeah, I remember Rex.
Las Vegas is where we took that coven picture that keeps surfacing every couple of years.
I know, that was a good pick, right?
Yeah, it was.
Brian, I had your headshot turned into pillowcases for my bedroom. So
I had pillowcases made of you too, buddy.
see, some simpatico.
You could sell those probably,
we gotta get
Not right now.
gotta get the merch started somehow.
Yeah, right.
But let me just see about some other questions here. Just to answer, somebody asked if we received the clip packet, if we all comment on them. Yeah, we all comment on them. There's not really divvied up. It's just who says something a little bit more interesting or within a narrative. There's times, I'm guessing you guys would agree with this, that you might think something is more of like an elemental and they're going for UFO, so they're going to go for the narrative of, whatever. So, let's see here. So how has this impacted your views of the unexplained? Would you say that this has broadened your horizons a little bit doing this show? Anyone want to weigh in?
Yeah, it's certainly sort of. I was never a UFO or UAP person, and this has really sort of kind of turned me on to that. And I've been doing a lot of my own sort of research and reading and speaking with people. So I feel like had I not been on this show, I would have never met some pretty cool people and heard some pretty amazing tales.
Yeah, Mark.
I have to admit, like some of the videos are just like they're so strange. You can't even put your thumb on what it is. It's like it's not just UFOs, but just it gives you a more awakening of just weird stuff that's going around you that you might have never seen if you didn't see these clips.
Yeah. Yeah. Lynn.
Yeah, no, I feel like I mean, the cool thing, this is such a dumb academic response, and I'm sorry, but like the cool thing about the supernatural is that it's a sliding scale of definitions, right? Because it means outside of what is understood to be natural. And we're constantly learning new things about the world, right? So things that were once supernatural are now considered natural. It doesn't make them any less awe-inspiring or amazing. It's just that now we know like the laws of physics or whatever behind them. And there are still things that we don't. But there are things that are happening over and over again, and we know because people report them and they send us videos about them. And so we know these things happen. We know that the only language we have to describe them in comes to us from like tradition, from belief, because it's not something that we can account for in like a replicable, scientific way or whatever. And I I don't know. I find that I'm more leaning into like, yeah, it's not science doesn't explain away this stuff. Like tradition and belief give shape to future science. We will like I'm with Dan, the UFO stuff, like that's never been my thing. And there are at least more than a handful, two or three handfuls of clips where I'm like, okay, so there's something, like there's something like this isn't a fake, this isn't a drone, this isn't a like this is what the hell? I don't know. And
Right.
I love living in that world where like we haven't explained everything yet. I think I mean, and I'm not particularly a skeptic. I'm not particularly a like I'm gonna argue that everything is absolutely real, but the potential for things is so much bigger than I think I would genuinely believe if I weren't doing this show.
I'll I'll add to that that I think doing this show for me is like, yeah, it definitely made me think in a bigger picture,
Yeah.
made me kind of have a larger scope. But I also, what I've enjoyed about this show is from an audience perspective. I mean, we have the benefit to really travel around the world in one episode. And because we're getting these clips sent in from other people more than any other show due to budget limitations, right? And the fact that the lingo that people come up and start talking about from different cultures, I think it's incredible. It's awesome that people are bringing these different types of phenomena up. So it feels like it's expanding the knowledge base, or at least yeah, the concepts that are out there. So I like that part, and I really love doing the show for that reason as a big one. Brian,
When I first got the email about the show, it was different, and they said, "Oh, you're going to be watching clips." And because it was coming from a channel at the time that it wasn't not necessarily travel, but when you hear about clip shows, you think about those true TV, goofy things with like different strokes actors, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this. But I saw the list and I said, hey, who else is doing it? And up until that point, I only got offers for Haunted Collector clones. They're like, okay, you're going to be with a guy who's a taxi driver by day, he's a psychic by night, and you're his tech guy. I'm like, oh. But on the cast list for Paranormal Caught on Camera, and I'll shout her out because I got to keep her memory alive, Rosemary Ellen Guiley. And I
Oh,
said,
yeah.
she's doing it. I'm
R.I.P.
in. That's all you have to say. Rosemary's doing it. I am in. And she was like the female Hans Holzer. She was a walking encyclopedia of knowledge. And I'm like, if I could ever have a fraction of what this woman has,
Yeah.
I'll be thrilled. And to be on the show with her and watch her give these great answers. And I gotta also give it up to you, Lynn. You've filled those shoes very nicely because I remember when you first
Absolutely.
came on, I'm sitting here at my computer, my TV's over there, and I heard somebody talking. I'm like, wow, that's pretty good. That sounds like something. I'm like, hey, who's that? So bravo.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, Lynn, really.
yeah, all of the cohorts, all of you guys gathered here, like I have to say that uh, when I watch the show, and it's interesting because I actually do watch the show like on hotel rooms or whatnot, or leave it on for my dog. Uh, but I'm always constantly impressed by what other people have to say, and I'm like, damn it, I wish I had said that. So
I've
like,
only seen one episode and I wasn't on. Son of a bitch.
you got to start
Mom
watching
watches.
Damn it, Beavis.
It did take us a year or two to actually some of the camera shots were so like blown out. We're all we're so white, which is it took them a while to get the the colors right on the
I
camera.
think it's us, Mark, because the women, no makeup and angles, they all look beautiful. Us, we look like chuds. So
Lynn's eyes in every shot, though, like I honestly have a hard time like paying attention to what you're saying because I feel hypnotized every shot. I'm like, wait, what was that she said? I couldn't stop staring at her beautiful eyeballs. Like, oh my gosh.
It's just the ring light. Like, I don't think I actually look like this. The first
Brian,
time we
your
shot,
voice is intoxicating, just so you know.
oh, thank you, Dad.
the first time we shot from home, I looked back at the footage and was like, who is this terrifying orange monster that I thought is me? And they were like, we're gonna adjust the color, don't worry. And I was like, can we just go back to the studio, please? Like, it was so scary. I don't know what it was about that first iPhone. And I will admit, I did not watch the show because I was like, I'll never do it again if that's what I actually look like. So, which is a horrible thing.
Lynn used to shoot in the same studio in
Yeah.
Burbank. We would get our hair and makeup done professionally.
And now I don't know. Like, now we're on our own, and I don't know what I'm doing. So but we got to be. Was that in Burbank or in LA? I don't remember.
Burbank, yeah.
Yeah.
that Brian and I used to run into each other at the studio when we shot in New York City, and then I ran into Dan, I think, like 1 or 2 times. But
yeah, I think I used to go. Brian used to go after me. Usually, we would see each other in passing.
Yeah.
it's all very different now. But anyone else want to weigh in on how this show has like impacted the way they view or think about the paranormal? If you haven't weighed in, that's okay. If you haven't,
Doing with like the glitch in the matrix kind of a thing, like those are some of the things that I find like hardest to explain, and so having to like wrap my head around those things, and then all of a sudden I'm like talking about like metaphysical things and quantum physics, and like now I start going down the rabbit hole of that, and trying to like pick away at the layers of like all of the like dimensional time and space and the layers of reality, and so that's been cool to kind of wrap my head around those types of things.
it's for me, it's this show has kind of really forced me to be more thoughtful, I guess, about phenomena. Like, I'm already thinking about this stuff constantly, but then when you're having to say something on camera or to a producer or whatever, I don't know, it's made me think a little bit deeper, or maybe it's just because I don't want to say the same thing. So I'm like, what else do I think about this? And I personally have unlocked some other ideas that I'm like, okay, that's kind of a cool side effect. That's me. I don't know if that is anyone else, but apparently not. No one else is jumping in to stay there.
I think my favorite
hard
clips,
question there.
My favorite clips are the cryptids. They're like just animals you cannot explain. The other one the other day where looks like some alien creature walking up the guy's driveway or whatever. I mean, that was like pretty creepy.
All right, so he's teasing something that's deeper into the season. So without giving too many details, I was gonna ask about some favorite clips from this season, or ones that you're looking forward to people seeing. Now, just everybody is filmed for 8/14, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So without giving too much away, I'm gonna say I think this clip that Mark is referring to, that might be Dobby competition.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I think it might be Dobby competition.
Yeah, it could be.
Anyone?
It's the one that I made my family. Like, I'm like, guys, you have to come look at this. Like,
yeah.
What do you think it is, right?
It's a few weeks
I referenced
out.
the movie Paul for that clip.
Oh yeah.
Because
I referenced the movie Signs for that clip.
oh yeah.
Because of the roof, yes.
Yeah.
And they kept asking me, well, why didn't the other camera catch him? And it just popped in my head. I'm like, well, in the movie Paul, the alien was able to hold his breath and have a cloaking ability. Oh, maybe he did that. And just this whole stream of crazy consciousness followed.
I
I
hope
think I
that
said the
makes
same
it
thing
through.
without reference to the movie, Paul.
Yeah.
I hope that makes it through. I hope that makes it, because I was thinking about Paul and then I didn't reference it. That's great. Signs, great reference, and I think that one definitely applies. But were we all on board with that one being a super weird one that we liked?
Yeah,
It
that
was up there. Yeah.
super weird.
That one was great. But there was one today that I liked personally, and you actually mentioned it earlier, kind of in this broadcast. One taken at the old Philadelphia State Hospital. And what was interesting is because the location no longer exists,
Right.
you'll see the video, but this is clearly in the past and something that I've done in the past, something that a lot of us have been to and done is still reverberating now. There's still echoes, and we have these experiences that, okay, finally I was able to say, yes, I've been to that location, because the producers are always like, well, Brian, have you ever gotten a chance to check this place out? And usually I'm like, no, it's in Tennessee. No, it's in Washington. No, I haven't gotten that. Oh, this place. Yes, I've been there. Let's talk about it.
Had you been to that location? I think we could just say it. We're not talking about the clip, but it's Byberry.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
and had you been to it when it was still
No,
not open,
no,
obviously, but still
no, not on.
standing?
One of my early scared videos was filmed there, and we were in a flood, a fire, and it was a crazy night. So,
Oh,
yeah,
Wow.
almost.
Oh, Brian froze on that tease.
that's what
It
happened.
might have been me on these videos had I actually.
Oh, you froze for a second, Brian. It was a great tee up,
Yep.
dramatic tee
Oh,
up. But I will say that I hope you re-release that scared video
it's
closer.
on YouTube.
Oh,
It's on
okay.
YouTube. Yep,
Okay.
it's on my channel.
Um,
You
yeah,
could
that
watch
was
me almost, die in a flood, almost die in a fire. Um, yeah, good times.
in the comments. Somebody said David Alicia said the Discovery and Travel Channel cracked down on Brian.
That
This is the equivalent of trying to give an MCU spoiler during an interview for a Travel Channel. Any other clips from this season that you've enjoyed or looking forward to people seeing?
I I feel like I'm alone. Maybe I'm not alone. I don't know if anyone remembers. I only know it by the title to which it was given us in our documents, the Turkish street alien. The little metallic teardrop shaped guy that like tootled along the road on closed circuit television somewhere in Turkey and then took off into the air and then later ran down the sidewalk. There was a clip. I can't remember if it was our latest documents or the week before. It was a little bit squarer. It was in LA, but
Oh,
it was
right.
the same. Like I was bursting at the seams in my interview to get to that one. I'm like, Turkish Street Alien is back. I feel like I'm the only person who cares about Turkish Street Alien, but anytime anyone asks me, what's your all-time favorite clip? I'm just like, hands down, Turkish Street Alien. I just hope I live long enough to learn that that really is the
So
There was a clip a couple episodes ago, not to give it away, but if you guys remember, he was fostering a Chihuahua who was sitting on the couch
right.
when
Yeah.
this happened. That was
Yeah.
I like that one. That's probably
That
my
was a good
favorite clip this season, I think.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
I think
This
my favorite clip of the upcoming season, not to give too much away, was the one and it takes place in Brazil, and it looks like this sliver of light that just got like sliced through, and it has like these tendrils kind of coming down through it. That one was cool to me. I think that was really rad because I don't know. That was one of those things that was like hard to. I mean, I was trying to debunk it a bunch,
Yeah.
and of course we listened to like what they were saying about the clip, and how it was a dry day and there's no moisture, and it's true. I don't see any weird little things going on except for this thing, just this crazy light anomaly. And when we think light anomalies, we think like orbs or something, but this was just like, it looked like someone took a knife and stabbed reality, and just this light was bleeding through. Anyways, that one's my favorite.
Yeah, that was a very good one too. And they called it like a ghost, but it really was it looked more alive to me than just a
Yeah.
ghost. I mean, that was the, I don't want to give away, it was the procession of souls thing, right? Wasn't that what it was?
Yes.
It was.
That was great. That was absolutely great.
Yeah, that was
It's so funny hearing you guys say that, and this is why I mean, like, it's cool to talk to all of you because I thought it was good, but then also I admit sometimes like maybe I'm in a mood or whatever and I'm just not connecting with a clip, or I get a little salty, or maybe it's by the end of the day of filming I'm just like, I don't know, I got nothing. A procession of souls, yeah, there's a lot of stories about procession of souls in different cultures. And a lot of times it's, you've got vernal equinox that's maybe plays into it, like I feel like I didn't really have a whole lot to say about that, but it's so cool hearing you guys say that you really liked that one. Lynn,
Am
were you
I
about
the
to say something?
am I the only one who thought Fresno Nightcrawler on that one, where it's
That's a
just
good
like
one.
long two legs, kind of united at the top. They're white.
Yeah, a little.
They're
Yeah, a little.
like I from the feedback I got when I said that, I was the only person who said that. But I was very much, I mean, I have, wait for it, one of my students' drawings. Oh, can you see it? Oh,
Yeah.
there they are. Oh, Fresno. Wait,
Yeah.
focus. It doesn't matter. It's not focusing. I'm sorry. Fresno Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
Amazing. But I did see, I mean, again, Procession of Souls is a great context culturally for that idea. Also,
Fresno is the only cryptid I've ever encountered, I believe.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited. That makes me so
yeah.
happy.
No.
It's the only one. It was the only. I used to talk so much shit about crypto people and Bigfoot and all this stuff, and I'm like, nope, until I had my experience and I was near Yosemite and I saw something off the Merced River, and I was like, ooh, I think I just had a moment with a cryptid.
You're
awesome.
That's
awesome.
It is kind of a reminder. I think, it applies to me. I don't know who else it applies to, that like you've had an experience that if you had filmed it and shown it to someone else, everyone else would say, that's too good to be true. That's a little too in focus. That looks like a substantial human, just looks like someone in the frame. But you're the one that knows, no, that was a person that was not there, or not in a tangible form, not one of us. So that makes me think a little bit more about dismissing something that, maybe it's someone that looks like it's a nurse walking down the street. Well, I've seen something that looks like a full-bodied, substantial figure that was not supposed to be there. So maybe I grant a little more leniency to that. Is that anything?
Yeah, and that goes back to what we were saying earlier, because usually those clips are caught not on an investigation. And for me, those are the most credible clips, like we were saying earlier, because there's no agenda. They're not trying to get likes or
Hey,
fun. Uh-oh, Brian's got something going on.
my closet is haunted by a cat.
No. I know we're winding down here. I do want to ask, I think this is worth asking. Sort of with the increased from the audience, with the increased use of AI, do you find more clips submitted that you believe to be AI? I don't know that I actively have seen one this season or recent seasons that I thought were AI. I've seen some ones that I thought maybe a person in a suit, but have you guys? Do you believe you've encountered any that
I'm with you, Aaron. I don't think I've seen any AI stuff. Nothing has jumped out at me saying, this is AI. So, yeah, but some clips have been sketchy, but I haven't come across anything I thought was AI.
But it still forces us to approach it with an open mind and at least.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen any either, but maybe give it a year or two and let's see what AI does to make it look kind of real fake, or fake real.
I feel like the one clip we were talking about, like the Paul Signs one, that one kind of gave me a little, like, I was like, I really loved that clip, but I also am like,
too good.
I did mention
that
AI
was the one. That was one of the ones I bailed on. Sorry, Brian.
No, it's
No.
okay. I did mention that because, they ask, oh, do you believe? And it looks too good.
Too good.
But
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the dichotomy of if it's shaky and blurry, the complaint is, oh, why can't you do it better? And then when you get it in 8K, they're like, this looks too real. It must be fake. So I don't know what to believe anymore sometimes.
So I don't know that it's ultimately, and maybe this is a dodge. I don't know that it's ultimately our jobs to say that it's real or not real so much as posit about theories and what it could be based on the region or the history or, what research we've done on the phenomena.
Well, this season I learned what a bothy is. So there's that.
Thank you.
What?
Just literally the week before we got that clip, I got married in front of a bothy in Scotland.
Oh,
was-
hey.
Oh,
I know.
cool.
I know. It was so weird. Yeah.
Wow.
I
I
knew,
was like, this knowledge is real. Like I can apply it. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
yes, congrats. Since you said it on the record, congratulations to Lynn.
Thank you.
recent-
Thank you.
And
You're breaking
Was-
hearts worldwide right now. Blue-eyed babes off the market. Sorry, guys.
I,
Throwing rice.
Thank you. Thank you. Virtual rice. Thank you.
Yes, and also we're sorry that we didn't come to the wedding, but we should get together in person because I've been saying this for a while, Brian. I know you've led the pack on this that we just need to be doing these things in person and get out to events all together.
Agreed.
Just doesn't happen enough.
It's
Um,
soon though, Aaron and Brian, right? Are we at?
yeah, Wisconsin, I believe, right? Together.
Yeah.
Yeah. It should happen. We should make it happen.
Do it.
Let's see. And I'm gonna resist. Well, Brian, I don't know. You didn't make a joke. I don't know if I saw this episode yet, but did you make any joke about many Bothans died? Many Bothies died in the making of
Oh my
see, that's a
God.
good one.
the
That's a good one. Now, let me hop in my time machine. I'm going to go back and say
Oh.
that.
I don't think they'll ever use me saying that, but I tried.
Something dies. I
My
did.
God.
I did say something along the, and I tried to, and especially the producer that I film with now doesn't always get the older references. So sometimes I'm able to slip them in and see how far it gets.
I I feel like we should most certainly call out before we wrap up.
The
Our
the
producers and the team behind this. Yeah.
just to say for the last one, the one from this last filming that had that thing floating with the flat top and the appendages on the bottom, I he asked me what I thought, and I said, "It's a pretty good bet the Empire knows we're here."
That's a good one. Damn it. Gosh. Um I've been slacking on the pop culture references lately. As far as our production team, we've been fortunate throughout this run. I want to call out Jill, Nick, Brandon, Alex Potter, who's on maternity leave. We got John Rubin right now. We've had a lot of good people on this show supporting this effort. And what's great is the folks that have been here for the long haul have been I think really have gotten into the paranormal as far as how they ask questions, their knowledge base, and being open-minded about this. That's my take. Does anyone else want to weigh in on that and on our
it seems
producers?
like all the producers that we work with really, really like working on this show.
Yeah.
And they've all said, when we're starting to shoot, the first couple of episodes of a new season, they're all really excited and they're like, I love the other shows I'm working on, but you guys are so much fun. And because when I do my interviews, I laugh the whole time. We're laughing the whole time. It's a good time. But the producers really seem to enjoy working on this show, and they've all been great. I agree with you, Aaron.
Yeah. It's been a good support team, and we couldn't get here without them, and also without everybody watching. So, thank you guys for keeping up on this show and keeping us on. I don't know, pretty much one of the only paranormal shows that's still filming. So, this has been
Yeah.
a good ride for all of us, and I know Brian, Dan, myself, Mark Moran, we've gathered together. Sceurman, you've not joined us yet.
Next time.
and Lynn and Susan, you got to make your way out to New York so we can all do like a
Oh
group
yeah.
hang. So, uh, guys, before we go, how can people follow you, keep up with your work, support your other endeavors? I know you're all very busy and up to a lot of things. Susan.
I'm mostly active on Instagram, which is Susan the Dragon Witch, and then you could check out the Dark Zone Network on YouTube, which is like, you know, content that I produce with other producers that have worked in the field and other investigators. And that's basically it.
All right. And you're doing some events.
Oh yeah, I figured you would say it. I don't know. You're doing it too.
uh, yes, it's Great Lakes Paracon, right?
Yes, we're doing that in Wisconsin. It's in Glen Beulah, the second weekend of September.
All right. And Brian J. Cano.
To keep up with me and my events, go to my website, neverstopsearching.com. If you want to go on a deeper dive and help me with projects, much like these ones here, my Patreon is Brian J. Cano. And yeah, never stop searching, guys.
All right. And Lynne S. McNeill.
Yes, I am. You can find me at Lynne S. McNeill on what was once Twitter and is now X, though I'm not as active there as I once was. I'm also on Instagram. It's a bit of a personal / professional account, but it is public. It's I think 3 to 5 underscores S, 3 to 5 underscores M. But also you can just find me as Lynne S. McNeill Folklorist. And if you want an introduction to folklore, buy the very short and very affordable book, Folklore Rules.
All right. Thank you, Lynn. And Dan Sturges.
Hey, I'm on I just started a Facebook page, so within the last month. And so you can find me there, and I'm on Instagram, but I don't know what my name is. And then I have you could call it a vintage website now because I haven't updated in a long time, but it's SturgesParanormal.com.
Dan, I love you. You are the worst at this.
I really am.
At the shameless plugs and the social media. Like,
Yeah, well, what can I tell you, man? I'm an old guy, so
you're not that old.
you'd be surprised.
You can find Dan Sturges on Friendster and
Snet.net.
Mark Sceurman.
Well, you could just look at Weird NJ across any social platform, and we're there. We're working on our 64th issue of Weird New Jersey now. New Jersey just does not give up the weirdness. It's just happening and happening and happening.
It's true, and I will add one other little thing in there, Mark, for you that Weird New Jersey and Weird Pennsylvania from the audience says one of my first and definitely most used resources for finding spooky stuff to check out with my friends as soon as I got my driver's license. So, and that was 1,000 years ago. So, yeah,
I hear that a lot.
it's true. I remember finding it in old Barnes and Nobles way down in Florida. So,
Yep.
and I'm Aaron Sagers, and you can find me at Aaron Sagers across all social media, Instagram, less so on X these days, but I'm still there. And even a little bit on TikTok and right here on Patreon and on the Talking Strange show. So I really do truly value each of you guys as colleagues and as friends and for dedicating your time tonight. I know you guys have busy lives, so thank you so much to come out and talk about Paranormal Caught on Camera season 9, although we may think of it as season 8. I guess it's officially season 9. So Susan, Brian, Lynn, Dan, Mark, thank you guys. I really appreciate you. And for all you out there that are tuning in live and then listening to this and watching this after the fact, thank you. And thank you for supporting Paranormal Caught on Camera. Sundays, 9 p.m. ET on Travel Channel, and then eventually on HBO Max and Discovery Plus. This has been Talking Strange. And until next time, be kind, stay spooky, and keep it weird.